Hi guys, in today's video I'm going to be trying on the newly released is the Bobbi Brown Jadestone palette. This is a limited edition palette and this was for sale at Macy's and it may be now available on Nordstrom. If it is, I will add that to the links in the description box below. Now Macy's don't send their beauty products directly from their warehouse to New Zealand, but they do forward it to a forwarding address that I have in the United States, and then that forwarded it to New Zealand here. When I saw this palette, I knew I had to get it. It's got these beautiful neutrals in it, and it's also got some grungy greens in it as well. There are 6 matte shades, and there are 6 metallic shades, and I think it just looks like a really beautiful palette. Now, they don't have this on the Bobbi Brown website, or they didn't when I looked this morning, but on the Macy's website, they do have the product details about this palette, and it says it's a limited edition holiday ready palette of 12 matte and metallic shadows that layers lids in warm nudes, sequin-like golds, and alluring greens. This magic making palette that creates endless enchanting looks from soft and ethereal to smoky and bold is perfect for any seasonal soiree. They say that this is a festive, limited edition holiday design, makes this must-have palette ready to gift or to keep for yourself. So this is the box that it came in, and it has sort of like a grey-blue tinge to it. And it is a really pretty design. Now the palette inside, when you move it, actually has a holographic feature to it and it looks really pretty. But I've got to be really careful with this because the shade up here that I will show you in a minute, it was completely broken and had come out, and I've pressed some of it back in. There's still bits of the shadow around the palette, and the shadow down here, it had a big chunk of the eyeshadow as well. But I'm sure it won't affect the performance of them, and it does look really beautiful. So I'm not going to hold this really close to the camera. I'm going to keep it tilted back slightly because I don't want the shadows to fall out any more than they have. But I did take a photo of this in natural light, so I'll put it to the left of me if I remember to do that when I'm editing. So when I move it, and I'm just looking at my monitor here, and I think you can see the holographic design of it, and it is really pretty. And when you aren't moving it, it does have that grey blue colour that is on the outside packaging. Now the shadows in this palette, they are made in the USA. There are 12 shades, as I was saying. There are 6 mattes, there are 6 metallics, and each shadow is 1.4 grams each. And this palette sells for $59 US. So I'm very carefully opening the palette. It does have a generous size mirror in it. The packaging isn't cardboard, it's quite a sturdy type of plastic, and it does feel quite sturdy in the hand. So I'm going to very carefully hold it, but I'm just going to keep it tilted back. So you can see this shadow here is the one that came, it was almost all out of the palette, and you can still see the little bits of it around here as well. This was the other shadow that is a little bit broken and has a big chunk out of it down here. But as I was saying, I'm sure they're still going to perform really beautifully. But despite the breakage, I think the colour story of this palette is absolutely gorgeous. It has the grungy greens, there's a little bit of gold in there, and some really beautiful neutrals as well. So for today's video, I am going to do 3 different looks. So I can use the greens and the golds and have a neutral everyday look as well. So I'm going to carefully place this palette down and I will swatch them for you. So I'm going to swatch the top row first. So the first one is called Blonde, and that is a matte. And then we have Highline Shine, and this is a metallic. Next is Empire City, and this is a matte. Next is Jadestone, and this is a metallic. Then we have Buff, and this is a matte. And then the last shade on the top row, this is the one that is broken. This is called Champagne Quartz, and this is a metallic. And then with the second row, the first shade, this is called Bronze Forest, and that is a metallic. Next we have the shade Cream. This is a matte. Then we have Magic, and this is a metallic. Then we have Electric City, and this is metallic. It's a real yellow gold. Next we have Rich Caramel. This is a matte. And then lastly we've got Black Chocolate, and this is a matte as well. So I've already got my base products on. I've got my foundation, powder, bronzer. I've also got eyeshadow primer on as well because I have oily skin and oily eyelids, so I need to wear eyeshadow primer. I've also done my eyebrows. The foundation that I've got on is the new Guerlain one. And again, if I remember when I'm editing, I will put the link up to the left here if you want to see that foundation where I did a full review. I love this foundation and I've worn it nearly every single day since I did that video. It's really, really beautiful. When I swatched these shadows on my arm, they felt really smooth and creamy. They're also quite pigmented as well. So now I'll get started with eye look number 1.
Stay another minute, let me hold you. You might be late for work, that's okay. Every day I get to know you, and all your flaws are nothing to change. I love it when you wake up, freckles with no makeup. I just wanna take up all your time and stay put. Humor mixed with perfume takes over the bedroom. I was built to love you, you know. Is there anybody out there? Is there anybody else like you? Anybody else like you? I think I found an angel. Is there anybody else like you? Anybody else like you? I don't think so. No, I don't think so. I know that every second gone, it's like heaven slipped away. You're the reason that I'm chasing. A smile like that can make no mistakes. I love it when you wake up, freckles with no makeup. I just wanna take up all your time and stay put. Humor mixed with perfume takes over the bedroom. I was built to love you, you know. Is there anybody out there? Is there anybody else like you? Anybody else like you? I think I found an angel. Is there anybody else like you? Anybody else like you? Is there anybody out there? Is there anybody else like you? Anybody else like you? I think I found an angel. Is there anybody else like you? Anybody else like you? I don't think so.
So I've now put some mascara on. I used the Bobbi Brown as the Smoky Eyes one. And this is the finished look of look number 1. What a beautiful eye look. I love the green and the browns. It's really beautiful. It's really fall, winter, holiday type of makeup. And although it's spring here in New Zealand and we're going to head into summer for the holiday season, I still love trying on these shades. I think they are really gorgeous. There is a great variety in this palette too, so I'm looking forward to doing the other 2 eye looks as well. And this green here is quite deep, and then I use that lighter shade just to lighten up the inner corner and just a little bit through here, and I think it's really lovely. These blended beautifully. I had just a tiny bit of fallout just through here. Nothing too major, and it wasn't with the metallics, it was more with the matte shades, and I think it was when I went under here, but not really a big deal. It doesn't bother me and really easy to clean up. So now I'll take this eye look off and then I'll be back and we'll do look number 2.
River flows one direction, and fishes they follow the flow. But what if one tried to mention that there was much more to explore? Here I am, I have a plan, I'm living free, don't know where I'll land. Here I am, I have a plan, I'm living free, don't know where I'll land. A dragonfly heard the message. Darkness was home for the star. It spread its wings to the surface. The bright colors set them apart. Here I am, I have a plan, I'm living free, don't know where I'll land. Here I am, I have a plan, I'm living free, don't know where I'll land. Here I am, I have a plan, I'm living free, don't know where I'll land. Here I am, I have a plan, I'm living free, don't know where I'll land. Here I
And here is eye look number 2. I think this is really beautiful as well. Now with this eye look, I use mattes to begin with, but just mainly in the crease and slightly above, and rest with all the metallic shades, just a couple of them, the gold and the deeper colour in the corner, just to see whether just using the metallics was a bit too much for my mature eyes, but I think they went on beautifully, and I don't think that they add any texture. I love the colour of this gold through here. Again, this is a really beautiful fall, winter, holiday look. I think it's really lovely. These blended beautifully, and they are really high in pigment too. I am loving this Bobbi Brown palette. It's a bit of a change from their normal neutrals, which I absolutely love. This just has just a little bit more of a punch to it, and I think it's really lovely. And with this eye look, I didn't use a pencil eyeliner, and I didn't use a pencil eyeliner in my first look either. I just want to use the shadows, and they're definitely pigmented and also dark enough to give the definition that I want in my upper lash line. And so far, I just think this palette is really beautiful. So now I'm going to wash this look off, and then we'll be back and do the third and final look.
We got a brand new day. Good love is on the way, and if you take my hand, I'll walk with you to Georgia. Have you ever been in love? Dove in from high above, and if the answer's no, well then I'd like to get to know you. And though I know these lights are blinding, I will guide us home. 'Cause I don't know what I've been told. The weather outside is not that cold, and if you take my hand, I'll walk with you to Georgia. And I don't know what those men see, but I see you right next to me. And if you take my hand, I'll walk with you to Georgia. We got a brand new night, and good love will soon arrive. And when it does, then come a little closer. Have you ever seen the stars burn out into the dark? And as they go, say, it was nice to know ya. And though I know these lights are blinding, I will guide us home. 'Cause I don't know what I've been told, the weather outside is not that cold. And if you take my hand, I'll walk with you to Georgia. Men see, but I see you right next to me. And if you take my hand, I'll walk with you to Georgia. I heard lovin's on the way, but I could use it right now. 'Cause I heard lovin's on the way, but I could use it right now. 'Cause I heard lovin's on the way, but I could use it right now. 'Cause I heard lovin's on the way. I don't know what I've been told, the weather outside is not that cold. And if you take my hand, I'll walk with you to Georgia. And I don't know what those men see, but I see you right next to me. And if you take my hand, I'll walk with you to Georgia. And if you take my hand, I'll walk with you to Georgia. And if you take my hand, I'll walk with you to Georgia.
And here is the final eye look number 3. This one is a little bit more neutral, and I had a bit of difficulty putting this shade in through here because that's the one that is broken in the pan. And even though I pressed it back in a little bit, it's just not firm enough. So I just found it a bit difficult to pick up. But there's nothing wrong with the shade itself. It's just that it's broken in the pan. But I still think it looks beautiful, and I love the shade. And of course, I love the Bobbi Brown darker shades as well. I think they're absolutely gorgeous. And I put a lighter green just under through here on my lower lash line. Again, I just used the deeper shade to give definition to my upper lash line. I didn't use an eyeliner pencil. And for the blush, as you would have seen, I used the new Natasha Denona one. It's the My Dream Cheek Trio. And I just used the first two, the blush here, and the second one is called the Glow Cream Base. This is supposed to go before the highlight, but the highlight in this is quite strong, and I just quite like the glow that the cream base gives. I think it's really lovely. It's subtle, but I think it's really lovely. And the lipstick is one of the newly formulated, the Bobbi Brown, the Luxe Lipsticks, and this is in the shade Plaza Peach. Now, I did a video on these a little while ago, and I'll put a link up here if you want to take a look. I bought, was it 8 or 9 of the shades, and I swatched them all and also lip swatched them all as well. So if you're interested in those, you can take a look at that video. The formula of them is really beautiful. They are super creamy, comfortable on the lips, and they have great pigment as well. So this palette from Bobbi Brown, I think it's really beautiful. It's a beautiful neutral palette with those gorgeous pops of greens, and I love that gold shade too that I used in the second look. I think that is really beautiful. I think this is a lovely palette for the fall, winter and holiday. And like I was saying earlier, even though it is spring here in New Zealand going into summer, I will still wear these shades. I think they are absolutely gorgeous. I also think this is at a great price point as well. For $59 US, I think this is a really great value palette. And the mascara, I've just started using the Bobbi Brown Smoky Eye Mascara because I recently purchased the Luxe eyeshadow palette and I did a video on that. And with that set came Bobbi Brown Smoky Eye Mascara. And this is a mascara. Before I did YouTube and started that and trying all the different mascaras, and I do have my favorite, which is Chanel Le Volume, but the Bobbi Brown, the Smoky Eye one, is the one I used to wear all the time. And I remember now why I did, because it's beautiful. It gives really lovely volume. I don't have the longest of lashes. They're not that thick either, but I think that this mascara gives great volume, and I love it that you can layer it as well. So I'm really thrilled that I picked up this palette. I'm sad that this shadow came broken. What a shame. And every time I close the lid, I'm fairly gentle with it, put it down on the table in between I've been washing the eye looks off, even more starts to come out. So there probably is a way to press it back in, because I'll just hold it up very carefully. You probably saw when I was applying the eyeshadows, it's still just dropping through here and it's making a bit of a mess, and it is a gorgeous shame. So it's a bit annoying that it came broken, but that's just what happens sometimes. And perhaps Macy's forgot to put packaging around these eyeshadow palettes when they should have. I'm not too sure. So it's hardly surprising when there's no protective packaging, and it makes that long journey from America to New Zealand that some of it did come broken. But I also bought one of the other Bobbi Brown palettes. I think it's called the Day and Light palette. And I quickly had a look at that one, and that is still intact. And I hope to have a video up of that one in the next few days. So that's it for today's video. I hope you liked it. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. And I will see you next time. Bye.